Hello and welcome back to Too Many Books. My name is Sean, and today I'd like to talk to you about The Atlas of Hell, Stories by Nathan Ballingrud. Now, a quick note, if you go seeking out the short story collection, The Atlas of Hell, the only editions you're going to find are the fancy numbered and lettered editions that Midworld Press has produced. This is not an exclusive collection, but it is the first publication under its originally intended title. No, when this received a trade release back in 2019, Simon & Schuster rebranded it as Wounds, 6 Stories from the Border of Hell. So if you're looking for a cheap copy, you're going to want to go and search for Wounds, 6 Stories from the Border of Hell. But let me tell you, you can't go wrong with this nice edition either. So I will go into more details about this edition once I'm done talking about the stories themselves. And holy crap, let me just start off by saying this is probably one of the best short story collections I've read in some time. Now, this is very much a horror short story collection. If you're not a fan of horror, this is not really for you. But if you're thinking, man, I really wish I had something reminiscent of Clive Barker's Books of Blood, then, man, Nathan Ballingrud has you covered. This is just top-notch writing. Each and every single short story in this collection was incredible. I mean, some more incredible than others, but there were none that I got to the end of and said, man, I could have done without that, which is something that you're bound to happen with any short story collection. Like, this is probably the best short story collection I've read since Devil's Night by Curtis M. Lawson. I absolutely love Devil's Night. But this one, I think I even like more than Devil's Night. Devil's Night was very unique, but it all centered around within Detroit on Devil's Night. This one takes you to all branches of Earth and Hell with a different writing style or a different kind of tale to be told with each and every story. So this edition, the Midworld Press edition, does have some extra bonus content in the form of little like vignettes, little flash fiction. Still Harbor, The Mountain That Breathes, The Concert Hall, Persons of Interest in Hell and its Environs, and then The Black Iron Monastery and The Bright Road. Those are mostly all really good reads. They all kind of give you more on the culture and landscape of the hellish world that Nathan Ballingrud has created on the other side of the fold. And they all really pertain to The Butcher's Tale, which is just the absolute knockout short story, almost a novella that closes out the collection. But what's really nice about this collection is it's almost a bookend between The Atlas of Hell and The Butcher's Tale. They kind of go hand in hand. There are definite ties between the two short stories that really bookend the whole experience. Now, this Midworld Press edition does have an exclusive introduction forward by Christopher Buehlman, as well as a note from the author about the original title. But let's dive in. The Atlas of Hell is your classic rare book dealer, the tale of a rare book dealer who is sent by the mob to retrieve the titular Atlas of Hell from your own little suburban landscape, only to discover that that atlas has been used to bring all sorts of hellish nightmares to this small suburban neighborhood. I'm not going to lie, it kind of reminded me in a way of like a person going on a quest, almost in a way of like David Wong's John Dies at the End, or This Book is Full of Spiders. Now, those are very much comedic horror. There's not really as much comedy in The Atlas of Hell here, but I don't know, just something about like some guy rolling up his sleeves and going on a quest that brings him to, well, other worlds and the horrors they're going to encounter. Definitely had that feeling for me. Next up, you have, like I said, one of those little vignettes, Still Harbor. If you were to pause the video right now, you could just read the whole vignette, I suppose. I would encourage you to buy the collection if you were to do that, though. Next, The Diabolist. Here's an interesting one. It is told with a first-person narration to you, the reader, except you're not the reader. You are the daughter of the titular Diabolist, who is, doing all... your father is now deceased, but he's been doing some experiments, some sort of worshipping that has brought forth a the hellish creature that is narrating this tale to you. It's honestly a kind of touching tale. I wasn't expecting to be touched, but hearing this creature talk about its relationship with your father and you, the narrator, it works really well. Next up, The Mountain That Breathes. This is the first vignette that, it's only a page long, but damn, it hits hard. Next up, we have Skull Pocket, a nice little odd man out kind of short story within the collection. Skull Pocket almost reads like, it is horror, but almost reads like a dark fantasy tale, almost reminiscent of kind of like a Ray Bradbury, Something Wicked This Way Comes, mixed with a little fantasy horror element to it. It's time for an annual tradition. The fair, the circus had come into town in the past, and all these children and the narrator are brought to the house of a ghoul, where they are told I don't want to say delightful tale, they're told the tale of the history of this town and the history of this town's customs, in a way that is presented like a story to children. It almost kind of reads like a young adult story in that way. But the contents of it are definitely not for children. It's done exceptionally well. Next up, you have the vignette to the concert hall, bringing you to another locale within hell. Then you have The Maw, the story of a man who will go to whatever lengths he can in order to find his dog in a hellish apocalypse hellscape. Apologies for using hellish hellscape in the same sentence. That's kind of, a little redundant, but man, if it doesn't work. Another great story. Persons of Interest in Hell. Not really a vignette so much as quite literally a glossary of, little character pieces of characters that want persons of interest that you will find in hell. That kind of expand upon, and you hear some names that you will come back to within the butcher's table in the end. The Visible Filth. This, my friends, is just straight out of the Books of Blood by Clive Barker. It reads like early Clive Barker. It is the story of a bartender who, after dealing with a bar fight in his establishment, discovers a phone that was left behind, and the images on this phone, the contacts on this phone, open the door to all sorts of hellish, creepy, skin-crawling obsessions that it will take the protagonist and his girlfriend through. A hell of a roller coaster ride. Probably one of the best, if not the best, in this collection, in my opinion. Apparently it was adapted into a film, which is actually where Wounds, that original title, came from. Haven't checked that out. That one got some pretty poor reviews, which is a shame because this short story absolutely kicks ass. But last but certainly not least, actually, hold on. There's another little vignette here. Black Iron Monastery and the Bright Road, which kind of expands upon the titular Atlas of Hell and is the perfect segue into The Butcher's Tale. Like I said, this is at over 100 pages, very much more of a novella, which is a nautical novella. A good old nautical. Think of Treasure Island, but instead of going to the titular Treasure Island, you're going to hell. Think of just classic Joseph Conrad mixed with the horrors of Clive Barker. And God, it's done so well. Carrion Angels, downright disturbing. I'm just going to put it at that. So seriously, if you are a horror fan, you should check out the Atlas of Hell, stories by Nathan Ballingrud. Now, this is the very first thing I've ever read by him. I know that he's got quite a couple other things out there, including, Lake Monsters? North American Lake Monsters. Christopher Buehlman describes in his foreword here. And man, I need to check out more Ballingrud, because this is like a gateway drug, let me tell you. So if you are a fan of classic early Clive Barker, if you're a fan of horror fiction in general, definitely check out the Atlas of Hell, stories by Nathan Ballingrud, or, as I mentioned, its earlier title, the mass market title, Wounds, 6 stories from the border of hell. But you are getting more bonus stories, little vignettes within the very well done Midworld Press edition here. So Midworld Press has a very nice cloth bound, nice little stamping on the cover there. It, of course, has some interior artwork by 2 artists. You have Ebrahel Lurci, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, I apologize, and Bastien Lecouffe Deharme, which honestly, some of these, like these end papers, very much give like Francois Vaillancourt vibes, if I could speak correctly. But each short story within it has its own full color art piece with, you know, the artist credited at the bottom of it. So I would say, I mean, yes, it is pricey, but, you know, check it out. Pick up a cheap copy as Wounds. If you love it as much as I did, then you're going to probably want to seek out a nicer edition, because nice Smythe-sewn boards for the binding here, you can't go wrong. This is also Midworld Press's first lettered edition that they did. And, I mean, that's way outside of my price range, and it kind of annoys me because I almost want to see it. So Travis, Midworld, what the hell, man? One thing that bugs the hell out of me, and I hate when publishers do this, is when different editions have different artwork. There is additional artwork that is exclusive to the lettered edition that is not the numbered edition. That bugs the hell out of me. Come on, Travis. What the hell, man? This is, I believe, the only edition. I believe this is still the only lettered edition. Nope, that's a lie. The Glenn Cook novels had lettered editions as well. But I don't believe the Glenn Cook ones had extra artwork. I think it was the same artwork for that one, which is better. So I think this is the only one that Midworld has done where there is exclusive artwork between the letter edition and the numbered edition. Not many publishers do that, but it bugs me when it happens. Midworld did it once. Grim Oak did it once with the Name of the Wind, which is just all sorts of chaos. There's 4 different editions. Each one has different amounts of artwork. Like, it's absolute madness. I hate the hell out of that idea, but that's just me. I know it makes the higher ones more exclusive, but like that should be like in the production details, not the contents. I want the contents to be the same, you know? I mean, obviously if a lettered signed by additional people, it's one thing, but like having like additional artwork, it bugs me. But anyways, Travis, you make me extremely jealous because I really want the lettered edition, but there's too many books. It's the name of the channel. I can't swing it. So I will have to, the numbered edition will have to suffice for me, which it does. It is an incredible, incredible numbered edition. I am definitely thrilled that I picked it up. Both the numbered and lettered are still available through Midworld Press. Now they do some very nice books. Some of them have a couple of issues. I did a review of Blacktop Wasteland, where you can see my issues with the text used on that. I know one of the titles had like a stamping issue. John dies at the end, which I mentioned earlier in the video. Accidentally misspelled the antagonist on the book cover, which is an oopsie. Not sure what's going on with Travis and Midworld. Hope everything's all right with him. They had been pumping out titles left and right, but it's kind of slowed down lately. There was a Glenn Cook title on the horizon, as well as a like Sherlock Holmes kind of novel. I haven't ordered that one. I have the Glenn Cook on order though. But anyways, check out Midworld Press. They are still publishing books, even if they have slowed down than what they did the past few years. But, you know, maybe that's just, you know, till they turn the bend and Travis will kick in an overdrive again. So anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel here. Excuse me. I do at least one book review a week with plenty of unboxing videos in between here and there. If you wanted to see more Midworld Press unboxings, I have a whole playlist of Midworld Press unboxings. So anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Check out Nathan Ballingrud and Wounds or Atlas of Hell, whatever title you can find. And we will see you around next time.